Feliz Navidad. Feliz Navidad. Oh, that's not going to work with the theme tune. It's a Christmas special, and we totally don't forget that it's Christmas until the last 2 minutes of this podcast. But this week we're talking about a giant Duracell battery, China chucking a data center in the sea, ChatGPT, and a privacy phone. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts Podcast. I'm Gareth. And this is Ted, and we're back this week to find out what happened to Ted on the last show.
Oh yeah, I fell over in the garage, and actually, as it turned out, I would have been all right to record, but as soon as you got a sniff of having a week off, that's it, you were in like a rat out of an aqueduct, straight in there. Oh yes, quick, we can have a week off. But actually, I was okay. I fell over. I had some bruising. I had a bruise on my arm and a bruise on my leg, and I had a bit of I wondered about my back, but I was all right in the end. And I would have been fine to record. So sorry to give you a big gap of no podcasts, everyone, but I blame Gareth.
Well, I think you need to paint more of a picture here, because I'm just imagining you standing there, then, oh, you've fallen over. What else happened? Did you slip and fall? Was there a tricky step? Were there marbles on the floor? Was it Home Alone? Were you breaking into someone else's house?
No, I was going up the makeshift steps into the garage, and I had my Crocs on, and my toe caught the edge, the leading edge of one of the makeshift steps, which is only about about an inch high. As you go into the first of the proper steps, there's a one at the bottom, which is actually a paving slab, and my toe just caught the edge of that, and I didn't lift up my feet properly. Then I went forward. Fortunately, it wasn't going down steps, but it was going up steps, and I just fell onto the floor of the garage, and that was it really. There was nothing out. It wasn't a more exciting and dramatic story than that, I'm afraid.
Oh, right, okay. So there weren't snipers or anything, or SWAT teams?
No one clubbed me over the head in the cellar.
You were tied up for weeks. Okay.
How are you doing?
Not too bad. I haven't fallen over in years.
How did you enjoy your month off?
It was quite lovely, actually. I went down into the shed and I started looking for my DVDs and going through them and resurrecting some and bringing them in, because of I do believe that there is a bit of a shift coming in the coming weeks and the coming months, maybe next year. We're going to see people exiting streaming, because I think that bubble has burst, and looking for their physical media now that they've gotten rid of everything. If you have a look at eBay and Music Magpie and things like that, you'll see that the prices of physical media are beginning to rise again. So I'm just I'm grabbing what I can to make sure that I have it all.
Yeah, don't miss out.
No. As well, movies are disappearing off streaming channels at, well, something of an alarming rate. The fact that any are disappearing. That movie, Crater, I think we featured it in Projector Room a good few months ago. There was a trailer about some kids who were living on the moon and got to jump around and do all sorts of things in zero G, and it looked kind of light-hearted, kiddie fun, and you thought it looked dreadful. But it's gone. It's not on there, and it was never released on DVD. So the only way you can get it is through legitimate piracy. So what do you do?
Legitimate piracy. This is why ages ago I started wanting to collect everything on MP4s and MKV files, and ripped all my DVDs and got stuff where I could, and you just know it's safe then. Well, with my 3 backups, of course, of all my data, and optical discs is one thing, but it's quite expensive. You know, your collection, which is huge, must have over the years cost a fortune. And if anyone was starting now, from what you're saying, it would be even worse for them financially.
It will, yeah. But there's certain things out there that I know I need to bring in. For example, if you buy a new copy of, I used an example with you earlier, Tremors, but I'm not sure that this is 100% reliable, this particular example, but I'll just throw it in there as a name. Right, Tremors was released on Blu-ray quite recently by Arrow. But if you go back to the old DVD release, there's even some extras or audio commentaries or various different things that weren't transported over to the newer medium. So if you go back and have a look at your DVD collection, you might actually find that there are extras and things that don't exist on the most recent release. You frequently see extra features being dropped off, or they didn't have space for it, they didn't have the licensing for it to be able to put it out in the definitive package. So I think it's quite important to try to preserve those sorts of things, because once those DVDs are gone, that audio commentary is likely to be gone. I think Evil Dead's a good example, where there's a couple of different audio commentaries from the likes of Sam Raimi, Robert Tapert and Bruce Campbell. And I think I listened to the one on the most recent Blu-ray. I don't have it on 4K yet. I haven't felt the need. But I was a bit put off that audio commentary because it is all about money and business. But I remember years ago there was a commentary on one of the discs I have down in the shed that is all about how they actually made the film, and it's much more interesting and exciting and funny. I'm just thinking that commentary's gone. It's not there. It's not the most recent. It's not on the most recent release.
Surely someone stuck it on YouTube, haven't they?
Yeah, but you don't want to have to go and find it, and that's only going to be there for a finite amount of time until eventually it gets hit with some sort of copyright strike,
right? Because
you're not supposed to have it there.
Yeah.
The only way you can actually have it is by owning the disc.
Mm-hmm.
And Netflix and things like that don't add audio commentaries to theirs as special features, so you have to preserve it yourself.
Yeah, I do get all that. I really do. It's just that you're a collector of this stuff, and I'm not. And I guess a collector of stuff will always argue for why it's important to them, and that's great. I mean, at the end of the day, you'll be dead, and what use will it be for you then? Nothing.
My son will inherit it all, and he'll go, "Wow, look at this treasure
trove of crap." And then he'll be
dead
one day, and then you'll have exactly.
It'll be passed from person to person, and it's being a collector, you do have to justify having an empty wallet.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, we can't get away with not talking about the weather. It's a tradition.
Oh, yes.
It was very windy yesterday. It was like being in Northern Ireland, I thought. And I tried to go out on my scooter, and I was being blown across the road, left, right and centre. And so it was a bit scary yesterday, but it's all gone again now, and it's back to mild and boring. What's it like there?
Well, I think it was a storm beginning with E. Elin or Elam or Erin or something like that. There was a storm blowing across us, and it's gone now. It's way off out into the North Sea. No, the sea to the east of England. That's the North Sea, isn't it? Yeah, that's right. I was thinking that's the one to the left of me, but it's not. That's the Atlantic Ocean.
It's the one. Yeah.
It's gone across there, so it was pretty windy and rainy for the last 24 hours here. But there's a very wet-looking cat looking at me through the skylight that I'm going to have to let in. It's not the nicest out there, and there was some funky weather during the week, over the last 4 weeks. Ted, take it away while I let the cat in.
Yes, okay then. Yes, so consequently, the weather here has gone back to being mild and boring, with spells of wetness. The trouble with the place where I live is that when it's wet and mild, everyone's grass gets churned up. Maybe if you're back on the microphone, you can tell me if that happens in your place as well. But there's just you can't drive over a piece of grass without it being churned up, it seems, and cut up. And then you've got to, it's got a tyre mark in it until the weather goes either really cold or really baking hot again. Are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm just listening to you, trying to put together what you're talking about. I did take my headphones off, so I missed all that. I'll have to go back and listen to the episode.
Yeah, don't worry about that. It's all claptrap anyway, as is everything on this show.
Quite right, yes. Although this wet pussy is starting to be distracting.
No. Filth, I tell you, YouTube will bring you down. And that's a kind of interesting topic as well, because you've just discovered this morning that they're letting you put Tech Addicts up on YouTube Music, which is great. I think we've got a full set now. Whatever works I did, Steve did all the other ones that he's in charge of, and you've now done Tech Addicts, so we're up there.
Well, yeah. I'm currently typing up an email to YouTube and Google to complain that they're going to let this kind of rubbish on YouTube. It's ridiculous.
Oh dear. It's good fun. Anyway, we're talking off air about copyright issues to do with that, so that's something that we ongoingly need to talk about as well. But
I don't, because I'm all right. I'm good. You're not. You're the one who's breaking the law.
Well, yes, questionably. I need to look at that with my colleagues down the line somewhere. But what was interesting was that you always, when we do Projector Room, put a picture together of a montage of the stuff we've been talking about on the Projector Room podcast, which involves shots from films which are owned by a film studio somewhere, no doubt. And you think, well, what extent do they take these copyright things seriously? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Introductory music to podcasts, which technically will belong to someone else. Are you not allowed to use it? We were just looking at it before recording, and it seems to be that it needs some looking into, but you have got some ideas.
I do, yeah. Sorry. Get off the desk. Oh, crap. Sorry. There's a wet cat working its way around the desk, leaving mucky footprints everywhere.
There's enough of that filth.
It is, yes.
Right, while you're doing that, I'll continue with the feedback from the last show. And Chad Dixon wanted to share with us his review of the Samsung Galaxy Tab A8, which is a 2021 model, but he's just recently got it. I mostly use a tablet for browsing on the internet, maps, light gaming, watching streaming video content, and video calls and conferencing. I can report that the A8 is excellent for all of these on its clear and bright 10.5-inch LCD display. Audio quality is very good on its 4 Dolby Atmos speakers. There's no booming there's no booming bass, of course, but it's definitely loud enough when watching music and concert videos. And there's a 3.5mm audio out socket. Battery is decent at 7,040 milliamp hours. I could go a whole week with light use, he says. 64 gigabytes of storage is not great. He's already filled it, but there is an SD card slot. My gaming is mostly puzzles, so I'm not pushing graphics capabilities for its Unisoc Tiger T618 octa-core processor. I think that's the same one that's in the Nokia tablet, if memory serves. Build quality has proved to be good so far. It's been in a folding case since day one, but even naked, its 508 grams, 6.9mm thick body feels sturdy in the hand. The back does warm up a bit during long video viewing sessions, but not a real problem. Overall, I'm very pleased with my purchase at under 170 quid. In fact, today we just looked, it's 161 quid on Amazon. I would highly recommend this tablet for everyday use. You're getting a whole lot of tablet for a budget price. So thank you, Chad. I'm glad you're pleased with it. And you're right, we do chase specs often, when actually, for what we're going to use things for, this could be all people need. So good shout.
Yeah. I've looked at this tablet in the past, and I had to dig it up there because it was 10 months ago that I reviewed it on YouTube. And I've linked that in the show notes as well if you want to have a wee look at that and compare it against Ted's thoughts as well and make yourself an informed purchase there from two different voices. I did quite like this tablet, and I mainly compared this to the tablet that I was using at the time, which was something of a similar price tag, and the specs are not a million miles away. And that was the Lenovo Tab P11 Plus that I used for the last pretty much 2 years, and sung praises about, because it was a genuinely good tablet, aside from whenever you needed, real power, and it couldn't deliver. And I'm sure it's the same with this Tab A8, but for light use, for streaming and a little bit of media on the go and a wee bit of gaming and stuff like that, these are pretty much flawless tablets. And I'd say with the Samsung's promise of several years worth of updates and things like that, then you're going to get a really good deal. I have seen this A8 drop as low as £130, and I think that's what I paid for it when I bought it. Mm-hmm. Because that's why I decided to do the review, because the P11 Plus had dropped down to that price as well, or I got it for thereabouts with none of the accessories. So I wanted to see how little you could pay for a decent tablet, and you can pay very little for it. And if people are looking for a good tablet to give someone, or a child or something like that, this Christmas with a pretty eye-popping screen, then I'd say this Tab A8 will please and tick many, not all, but many of the boxes.
For most people, absolutely right. So yeah, thanks again, Chad. Good shout. Links, as you say, in the show notes. And the other item was Xerxes Hodivala was saying that he recently visited the Samsung store at King's Cross. It's a beautiful space, he says, with all their current products on display. I had to get my Fold 4 repaired under warranty. The S Pen digitiser had failed on each side of the crease. They're going to replace the digitiser inner screen, metal frame, hinge, and both batteries as part of the service. It will basically be a new device when I get it back. The experience was first rate, as good as customer service is at an Apple store. This was actually the reason why I decided on a Samsung rather than a Pixel or a OnePlus for my folding device. I wanted something that I could take into a physical shop for repair if needed. I don't know if that's the only one in the UK, or the only one in London, or the only one in England, or I don't know. But he doesn't say if it is or not. But yeah, it sounds like it's a very nice place, and other people have chipped into the group after Xerxes posted that and said, yeah, they've been there too in London, and it's very nice, very much like an Apple store, as Xerxes says.
Yeah, you've linked to their website as well, which shows off a strange 3D virtual tour of the actual building itself. And when they zoom out, I thought, oh, it looks a bit like a butterfly. But then I realised it looks like a person with their legs splayed and their buttocks parted. And it's a bit of a strange shaped building.
It is, yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, nice. Yeah, that should be interesting. And it's nice to see an actual bricks and mortar store that you can take your stuff to and have a chat about something, because I think that's something we're getting away from as well. Do they do fitness classes as well? There's a bunch of ladies knocking about in yoga pants.
Ooh, who knows? I'm trying to find out if that's the only one in the UK from this website, but it's not very clear. I'm guessing it probably is.
Yeah. So I'd have to get a flight over to get mine fixed.
Yeah.
I took my broken Tab A8 over there that I got for £130 and wanted to get it fixed, it would cost me an absolute fortune.
Before we go on, I just wanted to mention that my 16 terabyte Western Digital hard disk drive, which is a backup thingy, is making a strangely worrying noise. And I don't know if you can hear that when you're listening, dear listener, but if you can hear some sort of odd sound going on, that's probably what it is. Back to you.
Yes, if you hear what sounds a bit like someone's stomach making a wee gurgle, that's what it is, because that's what I keep hearing. All right, moving into the news, because we've got fun things to talk about. And we're going to start with China, because they have taken, a bit of a stance on pushing their data centers to the bottom of the ocean, to save on electricity, that they can automatically cool it at the bottom of the ocean, and they can free up fresh water and things like that they've been using, and instead using seawater as well to keep their data centers cool. And I read some of the stats in here. I'm just trying to bring them back up. 1,300 tons of computer equipment, essentially, that goes down to the bottom of the depths. 100 units spanning 68,000 square meters, and it can process 4 million HD images in 30 seconds. That's quite a good computer, if you ask me. It seems a bit extreme to have to dump it in the ocean, but that's China leading the way in being environmentally responsible, isn't it?
We spoke about. Do you remember we on the show before we spoke about Microsoft doing something off of Scotland like this? But apparently the difference here is that the scale involved, that this is going to be 68,000 square metres on the seabed. The other thing is that where they've done it is at a place called Sanya, a coastal city on the island of Hainan in southern China. And I looked this up on Google Maps, and it's just across the water from the Philippines. And I thought to myself, well, the Philippines is bloody hot all the time. How is the sea around that area, in the South Seas, if you like, going to be freezing cold like they say it is? But I guess I don't know how deep the water is, and perhaps when you get deep enough, it does go really cold wherever you are on the Earth. But it looked like
there's an absence of light down there, isn't there?
Yeah, well, absolutely. But it makes you. I don't know. It just feels like it's a warm part of the Earth and not a cold part of the Earth. But yeah, perhaps it's really, really, really deep.
Well, yeah, more than likely. But even what was it to the east of England? That's the North Sea. That whole area is quite shallow as well. So I don't know if that would be a benefit or what, because I remember watching a Discovery Channel documentary about how that used to be a land mass, and it was it had a particular name,
right?
Beyond me now. You know, kind of where the Zeebrugge ferry capsized. That area there, they could do it there, and that way it'll just sort of gradually get deeper and deeper as the sea level rises. Or would they really just want to go off the coast of Scotland? Or I know they've discussed it with Northern Ireland as well, up where they dumped all those submarines. I don't know if you've ever seen the image. It's really quite creepy off the coast of Northern Ireland. There's like 160 U-boats that they scuttled, and they're all set out in a grid-like fashion.
Oh, right.
It's worth looking into. But they could do it there, and put in a data centre that could be kept quite cold, because that's cold water.
Yeah, I can imagine that being cold. It's just that in that part of the world, southern China, it just felt as though it wasn't going to be that cold, but obviously I'm wrong. These engineers would have looked into that.
Yeah, probably, yeah. They're not just listening to this going, I wonder where they think we should go. Let's get some ideas from the Tech Addicts podcast.
Perhaps Tech Addicts are right. We shouldn't have done it here after all.
Well, they could do it on the moon. It's probably quite cold up there certain times of the year.
A sensible place to do it would be in Arctica or Antarctica or the Arctic.
But maybe that's too cold.
Yes.
Because then you've got to try and keep the computers warm so they don't freeze.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah, it's good on them. I like the sound of this. It sounds kind of cool, but it's a bit worrying that they're talking about doing 4 million HD images. Is that tapping into our security cameras? Is that what they're doing? Where are they going to store all these? On Ted's 16 terabyte Western Digital. All right, ChatGPT says that that if you repeat words forever, it's actually a violation of its terms.
Somebody was going to exploit the whole system as soon as it was developed, weren't they? And some bright sparkers decided to tell ChatGPT to just keep repeating the word hello forever. And so it's taking up all their resources, their computer resources and processing power to just keep this thing going. And if this is one person doing it, then you can bet your bottom dollar that there's loads of people having fun with this and trying to screw their system. So ChatGPT, as you say, have decided that they have made it a violation of their terms and conditions, which means they can just presumably delete what people are doing. And people are so strange, aren't they? Pushing boundaries.
No, not at all. As soon as I started learning how to program in BASIC on my Amstrad, the first thing I did was 10, print, hello, 20, go to 10, run. And then it just prints hello until you tell it to stop. That's what they've done here. I love it. Well, but how much of the actual processing power is it going to take up? I can imagine it filling up storage eventually if you've asked it to store every result.
Exactly. So it's not just about saying hello. The implication is that if you can get it to loop things like this, you can get it to loop things that are going to impact processing power, which are much more troublesome and more resource hungry than just saying hello.
So basically, ChatGPT is adapting their terms to say, "Don't be a dick."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Grand. That's acceptable. Everyone can get behind that.
Don't go and look up rude words in the dictionary.
And don't go and look up pornography in the UK, as we're soon about to find out, because Ted, you're going to have to provide your photographic ID to view online porn. Because people do that?
They're quite right
do they
about
go and
this.
sign up for sites?
Somebody in the MeWe group did a test after this story came out and said that they went
For science, yeah. Okay.
Enough. They went and actually signed up and went to the online to look for this stuff, and sure enough, it's just so easy to access porn whenever you want to. There are some kind of safeguards kind of in place by the likes of Google and Apple and what have you, but ultimately people looking at porn are going to want to look at porn. I suppose the worrying thing about this is that the report here indicates about some statistics from their research, which is that the average age of children introduced to porn online is 13, with 27% viewing it from the age 11 and 10. And 79% of children have seen violent pornography before they're 18, and et cetera, really. And younger and younger kids are being exposed to what's available online. So what this legislation is trying to do is to say Ofcom want the UK at least to do some safeguarding here and making people give, if they want to, I mean, who's going to do this? If you want to look at porn and you're over 18 and you're allowed to legally, you can, but we want a picture of your face, your face, and presumably a copy of your driving licence and all the rest of it. So, I mean, no bugger's going to do that, are they?
Well, it depends. Wasn't there an MP, was it last year or the year before, that was caught in the House of Commons watching porn on their phone?
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder if there's going to be some sort of little, asterisk beside this, and it says, except ministers and ex-ministers of Commons and Lords.
Yeah, except politicians.
It's just asking for trouble. I think the people who would operate a pornography site are probably a wee bit disreputable. Would it be all right to say that? I wouldn't trust them with my information, let alone uploading my driver's license and passport to them. And then what happens? Say you're a popular person, like, let's pick someone, David Duchovny, because he's been addicted to pornography in the past. He could upload his stuff to the people, and they go, oh, look, it's David Duchovny. Cracker. Give us an extra $500 a month, or we'll tell everyone that you're downloading pornography and what you like to download. Because they're in the porn industry. They've got to be robust members of Parliament or whatever. You've got to be able to trust them, can't you? With this kind of information?
One would hope so, but no one is going to do this. It just seems like it's a bit of a stupid attempt, really. And I can't see how the UK government are going to lock it down when everyone else in the world are doing it. And Google are giving you open access to VPNs, so you can just pretend to be somewhere else anyway. And kids are the ones that know how to use technology much more than we do, so they're going to be straight in there, aren't they?
and all of a sudden we're going to have a bunch of fake IDs as well being offered online, and then Pornhub and things are going to see a large influx of people signing on from Wee John Poopong McPlop, which is a Blackadder quote, I believe, signing up for various different websites.
Yeah.
Look forward to it.
Signing other people up for them. So get a picture of someone and then post it up.
Kids signing up their parents, stealing their dad's driver's license. Oh, imagine. Oh.
It's a nightmare, isn't it?
I've got a kid. Hang on a second.
Good reason not to have one.
Yeah. Well, I can't get a return on it now. I can take it back. Right. Windows 10 is going to charge you if you want support after 2025, which it seems like a fairly good idea, I suppose, because it'll ensure that, that people do get the support that they want. But if they're going to be making the updates anyway, why do they have to charge you for it?
Give me a new hurrah. I tell you what, you were right on this. You said months and months, if not years ago, when this first came out, you said to me, don't worry, Ted, because Windows 10 won't go away. You won't have to worry about upgrading your computer that doesn't like Windows 11, because they'll find some ways around it and they'll extend it. And you're quite right, they have extended it. They're talking about charging people, but it depends on how much that's going to cost. If it's like 10 quid a year, then you say, well, fair enough. But if it's 100 quid a year, then that's something quite different. But Microsoft have shown, the last paragraph in this link, article here says, Microsoft has shown some renewed interest in Windows 10. Further supporting what you've always said, the company ported over Windows 11 Copilot feature, which it has. It hasn't popped up on my computer yet, but it is coming, and the backup and restore app as well. So I think you're right. Microsoft are realising that by 2025, on the deadline, there's so many people still using Windows 10. They can't possibly do what they said they were going to do. So they're bit by bit trying to find ways around it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm flattered. I actually sounded a wee bit intelligent there, which is uncanny for this show. Uncanny? No, not even that. It's unlikely. But I think that Microsoft really need to watch their step, because I do feel that there is a change out there, and people, once they start realising that they can quite easily move over to Linux and have as good an experience, if not better, than they do on Windows, they will start investigating that, especially, as you say, if they're having to maybe pay £100. You know, moving from Windows 10 to 11 can cost quite a bit if you don't know how to get an OEM license, or even get it for free or whatever. The cost is quite significant, and yet you're not going to notice that much of a quality of life change, especially whenever you're paying out money for it. You might just be a bit hacked off that you've paid out money for it. So people will start looking for better, freer or cheaper options for their operating system. Microsoft does have a monopoly, but they could very easily lose that almost overnight. Yeah.
Which will lead us into a story a bit later on about Windows Cloud and Chromebooks. But yes, you're right. There are other options out there, and Microsoft are, as I say, trying to look at that and find a way through, because people are starting to not necessarily need Windows like they used to in the old days. I still like Windows. I want to continue using it. And we were talking about my giant computer here, which was going to cost the best part of 600 quid to upgrade, to just get Windows 11 on it, let alone Windows 12, which is round the corner, allegedly. So,
Great.
but I like having Windows. I like there's such a depth of stuff going on in Windows and stuff that runs on Windows, and developers have used Windows for so long that there's just tons and tons of stuff on it. We'll talk later about one particular program that you've just started using, which is a good example of that. You can't really use that on a Chromebook unless you go to the cloud, which is what Windows are looking at doing as well. Anyway,
Yeah. All right. Well, moving into the hard line for the hardware, we'll start off with Duracell. And I remember putting this in before the failed podcast that Ted ended up hurting himself before we do. This is a giant Duracell battery that is absolutely packed with portable charging solutions for you. It's priced in America at $200, but it looks like a large Duracell battery that you would expect, whether it be an A, B, C, or D. I suppose closer to a D, if anything. But it has USB ports on the back. That I think there's 4 of them. There's micro USB Type-C, or no, it's 2 USB Type-Cs. Took a while for the image to load there. 2 USB Type-A's, and then on the top there is a little magnetic plate that you can open up to a cavity that you can put charging cables and things inside of, but also that cap can become a phone stand too, so you can click your phone to it, which is kind of a nice idea. It's a really nicely designed charging station, and it's a Qi charger as well, that cap thing that holds your phone, so you can charge your phone from it as well. There's a couple of buttons on it and a few charge indicators and things which are a wee bit covered up by the phone if you were to put your phone on there. But I think it's a really swish little device that I think I would quite happily have amongst my collections. What do you think of it?
Apparently, according to that video, someone was saying that it's quite noisy, which is a bit of a problem. And there's a permanently on LED display, but they said that this was a pre-release video. Also, I just noticed that on their website, if you click through to buying one, there's 2 versions of this. There's a 250 as well. What's the difference? Is it the output power? I think it
must be.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the 250 yet.
I think it's 250 watts of power, and the and the 150. So there's £100 more, but the 150 is 150 watts of power. I suppose that makes sense.
The 150 will charge your laptop once or your phone 6 times, whereas the 250 will charge your laptop 3 times and your phone 14 times.
Very nice.
And more.
I like that. Yeah. That thing on the top swivels because of MagSafe, doesn't it? So people with Apple phones can prop it up and the magnet will make it sit up and look at them. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks to be about the same size as a Coke can.
Yeah, I can't find any scale photos to see that.
If you compare it to the phone that's sitting on it, it's a wee bit taller than the phone, and that seems to be like a standard iPhone 15.
Yeah.
It's not the Max, so it's probably about the height of a Max.
Yeah.
So it's maybe like a good old-fashioned can of special brew. You'll know those, won't you?
Yeah, you're right. It's looking like just a bit taller than an iPhone, whatever iPhone that is. And so, yeah, relatively dinky. Yeah, it does look nice, I agree, yeah.
I think 200 quid's all right for that, given the amount of charging and things like that, and the design of it. It's a couple of different solutions in one, so I'd have one.
Yeah.
I would. I tell you, no lies. Right, next up is Astro. Astro have their latest headset that doubles as a HDMI 2.1 switcher. What does that mean, Ted?
Well, I was hoping that you might know because it's all about It's all about gaming. Now, the headset apparently is kind of designed for gamers. Really, they're expecting people to plug in to the base station. So with the headset, you get a base station with it, and at the back of the base station, there's a conglomeration of HDMI outs and USB Cs and all sorts of connections, and you connect it to the whatever device you want to use on the headset itself. While you're gaming, you can then switch to between whatever's plugged into the HDMI sockets, be it Xbox, PlayStation, or even PC or Mac, whatever you've got plugged into it. But you can switch that from a button actually on the wireless headset involved. You don't have to go to the base station. Or you can go to the base station and do it if you want to. And it's, it's got all sorts of tech stuff like spatial audio and sonic spatial, Dolby Atmos and blah, 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 3D audio, 24-bit sound. But I think the selling point here is that it's got a base station. You can plug what you like into it. And in actual fact, Xbox and PC and PS are printed on the front of the thing. So they're clearly expecting gamers to be using it.
And round the back above the ports.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So it's a gaming device, really, isn't it? How much is it? 300 quid, isn't it?
So it's $379, so that'll probably be about the same in pounds whenever it arrives. It is lovely. You know, I've been thinking more and more about how I use a pair of headphones that are wired to my computer because Bluetooth just isn't good enough on Windows to be able to use wireless headphones, even for gaming or for doing a podcast or stuff like that. So I feel more competent with a wired headphone. But it was years ago. I have a wee set of Philips that have a base station, and they were wireless, and I used them for a long time. Nothing went wrong with them. I just decided to retire them because I got slightly better headphones with better audio quality that I upgraded to. I still have them sitting over there, and I could bring them over and start using them. But I think I paid about £30 or £40 for them, including that base station. But it was rock solid. There was never a time that I lifted those headphones off and had to tinker with anything. And just was able to do a podcast, was able to play a game with my headphones. Now I have to lift it down and sort out the cable, pull it through, and then pull the microphone over and make sure the two cables aren't tangled or anything. So having a base station is, I really understand how wonderful it is just to have a base station, to be able to grab your headphones, sit down and have a play. Where people have both PC, or all three, PC, Xbox and PlayStation hooked up to a TV, they can just switch on that device and this will intelligently work out which one you're playing and stream the audio across it. I suppose it may cause a problem in between things, like if you have the PC constantly on and then you want to turn on the PlayStation and start using it, it might not automatically switch. So I reckon those are touch-sensitive buttons on the front, or there's some way that you can maybe use the headphones themselves to switch between sources. Yeah. So there is a fail-safe there. But, I really like the sound of these, and whilst they're way more than the likes of you and I will probably ever use, and they really are a luxury for the people who have all three of those. But I can't imagine that you're actually going to be properly tethered to using Xbox, PlayStation and PC. You could plug in PlayStation 5, an Android TV or something like that, something else. Yeah. But it is still hard labelled as Xbox, PC and PlayStation 5, or P5 in here. But I want to find something with a base station again like this. This is really nice. It's a bit expensive, but it's Logitech, so it'll be quality too. I like this. Yeah.
Yes, me too.
Good call. It looks a bit silly on his head in white. Yeah. All right, okay, fair enough.
I've got nothing else to say about it. I fancy one, but there's no way that I would... I mean, I wouldn't use it for gaming. I'd use it for other stuff, but there's no way I'm going to pay $379 for it. It's just mad. But some people would.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Hardcore gamers and people who have maybe small living rooms and things like that rely on their headsets more so than their actual speaker system. Because there's other people maybe working or sitting trying to enjoy media or something in the living room at the same time as them. They don't want to hear bang, bang, shooty, shooty all the time. Yeah. All right, moving on to something that you stuck on MeWe the other day, and I think it got a wee bit of a conversation going because it's A, a bit nostalgic, and B, a bit overpriced.
A heart bag.
It's kind of, yeah. It's a Yamaha 5-disc CD changer that they are prepping for release. This is good old-fashioned early 2000s technology that they're putting back out again. I didn't have a full read-through to see exactly what the difference is between this and maybe previous models. I just got my nostalgic head on and went and had a look on eBay to see if I could find something that would do the same thing but be an awful lot cheaper. And you can get that off of eBay with I don't know if you want to say more recognizable brands than Yamaha. You can get Pioneers off there for about 50 quid or 60 quid that do 5 to 6 discs at a time. But yeah, I think this is just further proof that optical or physical media it's not dead yet, so we shouldn't just stop producing these things. I just wish Yamaha had a better price tag on this, because it does seem to be a wee bit expensive. It's working out about almost £500 for a 5-disc CD changer, and anyone who buys one should really have a decent collection of music already put together. But there are people like that out there.
Not like me, who I don't own a single CD now. There came a time when, with my CDs, I just had them all ripped on the highest possible rip thingy, and I thought they're just sitting there doing nothing, taking up space. And then I moved a house a couple of times. I'm not going to keep carrying all these with me, and so they just went into they got recycled to people that were going to use them. So they weren't chucked away. But no, I don't have a single CD. No good for me.
Well, more fool you.
But people were saying that they remember, as I did, having these kind of things in the back of their car, which is, I do remember that in the kind of, probably in the 90s, I had access to a lovely big Volvo estate. I used to love driving that around, and that had one of these in the boot. And before streaming took off really, it was great to be able to just pick and choose what music I wanted to listen to. But yeah,
I've got a bit of a horror story about that as well. My dad had a BMW that was really cool. It had a 5-disc changer in the boot, and he didn't know how to use it, so I did. And I put in 5 of my favourite CDs, and I'd cruise around before whenever I got to use his car, it was cool, or he went off on holiday or he was away on business or something, I'd get his car and I'd drive around. It was automatic. It was great. Wonderful BMW. And I kind of left them there. And he came home with a new car once. And I was like, well, did you take the CDs out of the CD in the boot? And he was like, no, I didn't know there was one. And I was like, oh, bollocks.
Oh dear! I thought you were going to say that he got in the car and ended up listening to Derek and Clive or something.
Oh no! He might as well. He just drove around listening to Radio Ulster as he did.
Yeah. Anyway, nice bit of nostalgia, but 470 quid, as you say, just under 500 quid, and you'd have to really want one, wouldn't you? And be a bit stupid not to go to eBay and buy one for 50 quid.
That's the thing. Well, why would someone buy this? I'm trying to find the difference. Even the product code of this is the CD-C603, and I'm looking on eBay right now at the Yamaha CD-600, which is a CD 5-disc natural sound disc switching thing. Looks exactly the same. It's got the same buttons on the front and everything. And it's £150, which I still think is a wee bit overpriced given eBay prices. I'd rather see that for about maybe £70, half price. But it's a buy it now one. Why would they put out... I don't see the difference between this and the 603.
Yeah.
Other than it's shinier.
And new, and it'll have a warranty, and blah-de-blah. But if you had a lovely hi-fi stacking system still, and you didn't have one of these... You'd want something shiny, lovely and new to go with it all, not some beaten up crap from eBay, which might break down within a week and probably is only on eBay because it doesn't really work properly.
But they can be repaired.
Yeah.
They can. And there's a fellow, there's a guy locally to you, I guarantee you somewhere, that can repair all of these audio hi-fi units. Mm-hmm. I had my Amstrad Executive 333 repaired quite recently for, well, I suppose it was about, I think it was 50 quid or 60 quid or something like that. And he replaced all the capacitors and things like that. It's at A1 condition again. Mm-hmm. Even glued a bit of glass that had slipped out back in. And I'm dead chuffed with it. It looks amazing on my shelf. And I've polished it up. It looks great. I'd love to have a CD rotary changer system underneath it that I could hook up to it. But no. I'll get one day. This one's black. If it comes in silver, I might consider it.
Oh, right. Okay. That's the opposite for me. When I used to get SLR cameras, I always wanted the black one. I couldn't stand to have a silver one. And if I was buying one of these, I'd want the black one. Interesting, isn't it? How different people are.
I think with hi-fi equipment, silver just looks a lot better than black. Black is, Dixon's own brand hi-fi. I know it's not, but
really
it's
interesting because silver to me makes it look cheap, I think, and plasticky and not premium. Really interesting, different perceptions on that.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Ooh.
I'm getting off eBay now. I'm going to end up spending money on a CD. Ooh, that is nice. It's silver too. Right, moving on. That almost cost me £65. Rotor, which is a classic 80s movie. If you ever, or it was a game actually, wasn't it? Rotor? Yeah, it was your spaceship and you top down on the Amiga.
Oh, right.
Rotor R550X is a new autonomous helicopter that anyone can buy, apparently. I take it you don't need a pilot's license. The computer does everything for you.
What they're saying is that Rotor is planning to deliver these aircraft in a state of ready for immediate evaluation for a special airworthiness certificate, which will allow them to be flown as experimental aircraft in most countries. But they are seeking a certificate from the FAA, which will then change the whole thing. So I think initially you can buy one and not have to have a pilot's license, but somewhere down the road you're likely to.
Somewhere down the road, they don't travel by road. Where this goes, we don't need roads.
It's going to be apparent, according to this article, though, it's aiming at
your house.
People that are likely to want to deliver cargo to offshore platforms, firefighting missions, and other land-based delivery tasks. So maybe Amazon will get in on this and. You
can have one with 6 easy payments.
But yeah, it's all a bit, and they're a bit concerned about what happens when it crashes or it goes out of range. But it can carry quite a lot of stuff, but not humans. Later on, when they get the registration done, they say that it will be able to carry humans, and that's why it starts to be a bit of a problem for, Joe Bloggs buying one or Gareth Miles buying one.
Yeah. Why me? Why am I different to Joe Bloggs?
You have got no common sense.
That's obviously true. Command and control range is up to 10 miles or 16 kilometres from the ground-based satellite communications relay, or more than 1,000 miles from an airborne relay. So if you have a plane that can control this, you can go 1,000 miles away.
150 miles an hour.
That's cool. That'll get you through the commute.
3 hours fly time.
That'll get you through commute as well, yeah.
It's all a bit of a kind of tech kind of pipe dream for people that really would want to have one of these, because it's a dangerous looking vehicle, isn't it? You can't just let people loose on this, I don't think. And eventually they won't be able to. As soon as someone buys this and crashes it, they'll be all over this and they'll be banning them. A bit like electric scooters.
Well, absolutely. I wish they were banned. Oh, wait, they are. Tell that to the kids.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to skip over the wearables section because there's nothing there. Everybody's naked this week. And we're going to move on to Kickstarter, which has a Murena 2. This is a privacy-focused phone that I remember attracting my attention about a month ago, and I've forgotten everything about it since, and I thought everything would roll back in my head when I started looking at the website again, but it didn't. This is it's essentially an Android phone that allows you a large amount of privacy in that it has a big physical button on the side that can turn off things as you want them to. So it'll turn off the camera and the microphone and all that by one click of a physical switch, so it makes you feel that wee bit more secure rather than doing that in the settings. Because actually clicking a switch is proved to be much more secure. It comes with what is it? There's a special a cloud system that it's all hooked up to as well. That is theirs, and it's got a powerful set of tools as well, much like Google Docs and things. So you can avoid using Google if you really feel the need. They've provided a new app store and things like that can get you everything that you need.
Are you sure it's Android? No, it's not. It's the operating system is EOS.
But I think that's a fork of Android. It's all it's based around
Can you get
Android
apps on it?
I think you can.
All of those apps it's showing on them, none of them are Android apps.
No, but that's the whole attraction of this, is that you can do that. But if you absolutely need something, you can.
Okay.
Can do it. I will double check.
EOS is a de-Googlified version of Android OS.
That's it.
It has an open source Android OS core with no Google apps or Google services accessing your personal data. So can you get to the Play Store then?
You can shoehorn it on.
Okay.
I've forgotten the term for it.
Sideload
it.
It's compatible with all your favourite Android apps because keeping of your data, blah, 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 blah. Right, okay. Yeah. I'd forgotten about EOS until that minute.
They do it quite frequently. There's even was it Cyanogen and all those sorts of things way back when they were all de-Googled Android forks. Maybe not Cyanogen, but there was something else. There's always an upstart, a wee phone that comes along, black phones and things like that run Android that don't have the Google stuff on it, so that you can feel a bit more secure.
Like Huawei.
Yeah, and that is the main point of this, is that you're trusting it with this company as opposed to Google.
Yeah.
And where you buy a Huawei phone, you don't get Google on it, but you get Huawei stuff on it. So someone's always watching you somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be 450 quid or euros if you pre-order it. Oh no. Oh yeah, 400.
But you can get 3 for the price of 2 as well.
Yes. So you could buy 3 and flog 2 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not cheap. A bit like the Fairphone, really. If it's a strange idea, but it's actually quite expensive. And in terms of hardware... Anyway, yeah, interesting idea.
It is, yeah. And if you pay €1,000, you can get 2 terabytes of cloud storage as well. It doesn't say how long that lasts, if it's for a lifetime or if it's for 12 months. But
if you pay 8,500 quid, you get the Murena Skyrocket. What do you get for that then? 2 t-shirts? No, 1 t-shirt, 1 hoodie.
4 t-shirts,
oh, no, 4
hoodies,
right,
and 4 phones.
Oh dear.
£5,000 will get you 2 of each. Yeah.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. Okay.
And but I don't know what guarantees you get that this is going to be updated for the next however many years to ensure that you are getting value for money. It could be that this, it's hit its goal by quite a bit. 500 backers have got it over the 25,000 euros that they were looking, and they've managed to get 206,000 euros. So it's likely that people will start getting their handsets at some stage, but the company may not be able to sell it outside of that. If they start listing it on Amazon, it's not something that people are going to really be queuing up for. Yeah. So you got to wonder whether or not the updates this time next year will be forthcoming, or if the cloud will just be done away with, and various other bits and pieces will be done away with. They'll even get rid of the Switch to save costing.
It's certainly really interesting, though. It's an interesting project, and it'll be great to see how it turns out.
Yeah. All right, one name that you might have heard of is Vivo, and I'm not talking about the wee set type of sort of shops that you get down south. That's Viva, isn't it? And then there was a Vauxhall as well back in the 80s.
Really?
Called the Viva as well.
Oh, the Vauxhall, the car, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know the shop.
Viva,
I don't know the shop though.
Spar, does that mean something?
Yeah, we've had Spar shops.
Okay, it's like that Spar Centra style.
Okay.
Viva is what you get south of the border.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job you're with it.
Certainly, just to confuse the matter. The Vivo Y100i is a new 5G phone that is arriving with a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It costs around about £200 probably. It'll have a 6.64 inch LCD flat screen with a full HD plus resolution. The Dimensity 6020, which runs at 2.2 gigahertz, and it's a octa-core.
It's got two performance cores.
You're joking.
Yeah, it's quite a basic. Sorry, do carry on.
No, you're.
What I was going to say was the news here really is that it's got 512 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigs of RAM, and it's £200. And at the moment, it's not being seen as coming out of China, but it might come out of China. Some Vivo stuff does, and it's just a staggering price. 500
because it's got a limp processor in it.
Well, there is that, but they're 512 gigabytes of storage. I mean, we were talking earlier about the Samsung tablet, and that's got a fairly limp processor in it as well. So it depends what you want to do with it, and
yeah.
But this is a huge amount of RAM and storage for very little money. That was my takeaway.
And it runs on the Origin OS, which is based around Android 13, and has a 3.5mm headphone jack. Nano SIM as well, dual nano SIM. It comes in 3 different colours, pink, blue and black. Lovely.
I think it looks very nice, personally, but I don't know that we'll ever see it.
No, it's just, I don't know, it would be possibly an attractive buy for someone who doesn't know their specs. But I think whenever people look into that Dimensity, they might just get a wee bit turned off.
But somebody that doesn't know about specs and stuff are not going to be wowed by 512 gigabytes of storage. What are they going to use it for? Or 12 gigabytes of RAM? What are they going to use that for?
But the salesman in the phone shop might go, hey, you know what this has? It's got loads of space for all your tracks.
Yeah.
Which are coming from Spotify. Sorry,
Yes.
It's got loads of space for all your videos. Well, which are coming from Netflix.
Yeah.
It's got loads of space for all your photographs that you're going to take with the crap camera.
Anyway, I think it's a bit of a pricing breakthrough. That's the news, really.
Yeah, okay. It does have some pretty colours.
Yes.
And that's the most attractive thing about a phone is the colour. Yeah. Microsoft have updated Phone Link. And you might be able to start using your Android phone as a webcam soon, which is actually kind of a really cool idea that should have happened a long time ago. I know there are bits of software that you can do this with, and Apple have been doing this for quite some time on their platforms. But Ted, do you think you would use your phone as a webcam?
No. And actually,
but it's a wide-angle lens.
Most of the, most computers that you're likely to use are going to have a laptop, certainly going to have a camera built in anyway. This is enabling people to use the software on their phone, particularly if you've got a Samsung, to use the phone's camera while you do whatever you're doing in Zoom or whatever it is on your big screen that you put the phone out to. I'm not sure that I quite get this. Someone that uses Apple's continuity camera stuff will probably be able to tell us more clearly about why this is a thing and why it's so good. But as far as I'm concerned, it would only be useful. I mean, the monitor I've got in front of me now has not got a camera in it. Fair enough. So this would actually be quite useful in that case. But most people that have got some sort of laptop or tablet or computer are going to have a camera anyway. And I don't quite get why it's such a big deal. I expect we'll get letters now. Well, of course, this is why it's such a big deal.
Well, there's one big thing I'd like to point out, and that is generally the camera on a laptop is shit.
Oh, well, there is
I think that's a technical term for it as well. They're all fixed focused as well, and probably VGA, maybe 1.3 megapixels. They don't do anything justice. And where you want to have, if you've got a good internet and you've got a good powerful computer, why should you be lumbered with a crap camera?
Okay, but at the moment I've got in front of me I've got my Motorola phone, and I can have Ready For on my computer, and I can pass through the video from the phone's camera if I want to, but it might not hook up with the apps directly. It might want to use another camera to do that with. So I can make it work. But then not everyone's got Ready For and Dex to be able to do that, I suppose.
Does great Aunt Bessie out in Outer Mongolia have that?
Yes. Yeah, it's all about phone link, isn't it? This is about Microsoft trying to catch up with Apple, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm all for this. I think I will use it. And I'm actually right now thinking, I could have, instead of the phone cradle on the desk in front of me, I could have it up. But I would want to use the back camera more so than the front-facing camera. Yeah. So would I have it to the side of the screen, and I've got a wide screen? I have my light bar across the top, so I can't set it right in the centre of that. Unless I have it hanging from the shelf above, I could put it up there, and then put my phone in, and then have the USB cable coming down here. Ooh!
Load of bollocks.
I'll look forward to that. I'll have a play with that whenever it comes out, and use it once, and then never use it again.
Yeah. Because
it's too much hard work to put the phone up there.
Indeed. Oh no, they've got a clamp. The Apple system, you can buy a clamp for it, so it goes on the side of your monitor.
Don't tell me it's only compatible with this clamp. And they're going to call it Clip It.
Yeah. iClip.
All right, the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra is getting a side-by-side comparison with the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. For those of you who are just keeping up, the 24 is the one that we're going to get next year. We should be seeing it hopefully around March. But right now, speculation is happening, rumours and all that kind of stuff. So what can we expect from the S23 when it goes toe-to-toe, tat-a-tat, head-to-head with the S23 Ultra? Ted Burt.
Okay, well, firstly, it's going to be having a titanium chassis, which is catching up with Apple. It's also going to allegedly drop the 10 times telephoto for a 5 times telephoto. Not quite sure what that's about, unless they're trying to save space in the unit and make it smaller. But it doesn't look as though it's smaller. It looks exactly the same size.
Say that. There was a reason. I think it is because of that and the silo for the S Pen.
What Samsung are claiming is that the lens, the sensor, the Sony sensor that's in the going to be in the body of the device at 5 times, is so good that you can just zoom in to make it 10 times, and you don't need physically an optical 10 times zoom. But the 5 times will be as good as the 10 times, so we won't waste our time doing a 10 times. Anyway, the rest of it looks pretty much the same. Do you notice that the speaker outlet, the right hand speaker outlet, is they're changing it into a single slot? I don't know if that's just because they want to change the design and make it kind of compatible with the look of the other modules across the bottom of the phone.
It's much neater, but I will probably try and put an SD card in there at some stage.
Yeah, that's true. But I wonder if that is going to make it better or worse than the grill that's on the one that's already on the S23 Ultra. The other thing is that they've made the pen, the stylus, the S Pen, flat on the end, which some people are saying that it might make it more difficult to get out and in, instead of kind of rounded on the end. But the takeaway here really generally is that it's kind of be almost exactly the same. Another year of Samsung design just being the same as last year. So wait for the S25. In actual fact, I did see an article this week that said some leakster had said that the S25 is where it's going to change, some sort of radical new change after years of the same design. Anyway, your turn.
I bet if you go back 12 months, there'll be someone saying, "Oh no, the S24 is where it's going to change." I constantly just think that Samsung are just making minor modifications every year to keep up with what people want at the time. There was a time whenever people were sick of flat screens, and they wanted to have the tapered edges. Now we're sick of that, and we want to go back to having flat screens. So they're having to readopt that back in. It's constantly updating to what exactly people want and keeping in touch with that. Whatever comes before, if it's accepted, and whatever Apple do, then they just try to push that in somehow. But I don't think they really want to have to, at this stage, invest and tear things up when it comes to all their R&D to put something out completely new, because that's whenever people get scared, when people don't want to adopt a new thing, because with the fold phones and things like that, they had to give it a while for those phones to actually start becoming attractive. And it was only in the third generation, the third year that they were out, that they started to notice a sales impact outside of just the enthusiasts who have to have the latest and greatest. So, foldable phones are almost becoming the norm, but they aren't there yet. And where this phone is still, this is their flagship, and whilst they don't sell as many of these as they do of the Samsung Galaxy A...
54?
8 or something, no, the one even less than that.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the second best selling phone in the world at the moment. It's either the A08 or the A18,
okay,
28 or something like that. That's the one that sells for about £99, and it not in Europe or in America, but around the world, it is their biggest selling phone. And it's ridiculous the amount of money that they make from that phone, because everything is just cut down. And these ones have the larger profit margins, so they've got to be much more careful, because it's a lot more valuable whenever they lose money or they don't sell as many of them. They've got to keep people on track with these. So I don't see them ever tearing things up and really shaking things up. It is just going to be minor modifications of what's culturally popular. Yeah.
And let sleeping dogs lie and all that. Because if people are generally okay with the design, and I've got the S23 Ultra here, and I think the design is absolutely fine. The screen is slightly, very, very slightly rounded at the edges, but I'm okay with that. I don't see any problem because of that. But apart from it being too big for me, I'd like the whole package, everything it's got in here, but instead of 6.8 inch screen, like 6.5 or 6.6. That would suit me down to the ground. But they're not going to do that because they won't be able to get all their stuff in it. But they'll have a bit more space without a 10 times zoom, won't they?
They will indeed, yeah. No, I'm quite excited about it. I'm looking forward to the S23 coming down in price.
Yeah.
For the S24 arriving, and I think I'll probably pick up an S23 at that time because I don't see the point in jumping onto the S24. I think it's exceedingly expensive for what you're getting, and it's not that big of a change from the S23. So this is the time that they can start expecting to sell a lot of S23s because they are much more economically viable.
The other thing that came out of PSE, other podcast last night, was that Tim Evans was saying that it's likely that the S24 Ultra will be the one that maintains the Snapdragon chipset, and the S24 Plus and the S24 are going to go back to this regional Exynos thing, which is going to piss off loads of people. So that is one change.
It'll piss off some people. It'll piss off reviewers and things like that. But it won't piss off Mary down the street
when her
who
battery
wants to have a cool photo.
When her battery runs out, this is the big change. I've had the S22 Ultra and the S23 Ultra, and the battery is night and day. It's so much better, and it's not just because of kind of small changes. It's the chipset. Everyone is saying that, and everyone's testing it and finding that to be true. And I think people will be pissed off because they can't get through the day with their S24 Plus because it's got a bloody Exynos chipset in it.
But people will grumble all the way to going and buying an extra power cable or power charger or a power bank and charge their phone.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's what most people generally do. They don't go back to Samsung and say, this battery's crap.
They will if they had the last year's version.
Do.
If they had last year's version that was better, then they will. If they're coming into it fresh, then, okay, fair enough, they probably won't.
Yeah. Well, it's all to play for, and it will be interesting to see, but I would say, that's probably correct. It's a very intelligent idea that the S24 base, or the regular and the Plus, will go with the Exynos, because that way they can... It keeps their costs down. And I'm not saying that it's great for the people, but it's a great analogy, and it's a great thought that this might happen. But I don't think most people will notice.
I was completely with you on the Exynos chipset when everyone was saying all the ways in which Snapdragon is much, much better, and and I used to sit there on PSE saying, well, I don't see it. The Exynos one, I had the S21 Ultra, and I said the Exynos chipset seems absolutely fine to me. I don't know what everyone's banging on about, until I saw the battery benefits, and then I completely changed my mind.
Yeah. Well, I think whenever the last one I had was the S10 Plus, and I didn't know for the first year of that whether or not it was Snapdragon or Exynos. Part of me didn't actually want to look to see what had been sold. But then, closer to the time, I realised it was the Exynos. But it still lasted me the day quite happily.
But not 2 days.
No, I wouldn't do 2 days, but I never needed it to do 2 days, and I was quite happy with it. And I was still sad to get rid of it whenever it did. Yeah. So much so, that's why I'm thinking about going back. And if it's an Exynos, fine. It might make it a wee bit cheaper for me to buy, and I rarely get below 60% on my Pixel, so I should be all right.
Okay.
Screw everyone else.
Yeah. I'm all right, Jack.
All right, moving into gaming news, because we've got some gaming news. Lots of gaming news, actually. We're going to start with Netflix. We're adding Ooh, the Grand Theft Auto trilogy. Not just any Grand Theft Auto trilogy, but the wonderful Definitive Edition, the ones that came out on Xbox and PlayStation, and people crapped themselves at how bad they were. But Netflix have decided, well, that seems like a logical trilogy for us to put out. And I think I'm going to give them a go on my tablets to see what all the fuss was about. I remember them being a couple of them were given away with the PlayStation Plus thing, and I think they're available through Xbox online gaming jobby thing that I can't remember, Live or whatever it's called. And I think they're getting better. I think they've had bug fixes and stuff, but they're still not very good. The story of these is that they originally released the games back on the PC and the Xbox and PlayStation years ago, each one, Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City and San Andreas, and then they released them on Android and Apple and had essentially the mobile versions of them, and they used those versions to upgrade to the Definitive Edition on the most recent generation of consoles and the PC. And they were full of bugs, and it was one of those launches that went disastrous. It was disastrously bad. Rockstar didn't do it in-house. They sent it out to another company whose name I can't remember. We'll call them Game Octopus, because I don't know what they're called. And they didn't really know what they were doing and tried just to do all sorts of AI stuff to update the graphics and the physics and things, and then dump them out onto the PlayStation stores. They were terrible. If you go to YouTube and watch some of the videos, you'll see just how bad these versions of the games were. So I think Rockstar had to step in and do a bit of restructuring of the games and bug fixings themselves to try and get the games a wee bit more like what people might expect from a game called the Definitive Edition. So Netflix have added them to their ever-growing library, which I think I've actually cancelled my Play Pass as of this month, because I'm starting to use Netflix's game library a wee bit more. There's a couple of games in there that I've been playing. So I'm going to give this a go as well and see how well they work on my tablet with a controller. Maybe I might be able to play them on my Android TV. Don't know yet. I haven't looked into that.
Is it included in the cost?
It is, yeah.
Right.
There's a... I'll go and have a look and see if they're there.
No, they're not.
Already.
I just looked. It won't.
Oh, right.
It won't let me get there. But I think everything so far on Netflix is included with your subscription, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
This doesn't deviate. You're not asking that question because it deviates in any way, does it? No, it is just included.
Yeah, I think it is. It can. This article says ad free and no extra charge. I'm assuming that Grand Theft Auto is the same. I played Grand Theft Auto and I thought it was pretty daft, frankly. But I played it on a PC a few years ago. I think I mentioned it on the show, and it just all seemed a bit silly. And I couldn't believe that kids were allowed to do this kind of thing. But anyway,
they're not. They're 18 certificate.
Oh,
they shouldn't be playing it.
It was consequently, because it's included, I'll have a look at it and have a go. Have you got to? Presumably, you've got a. There's a download, is there? It's not just completely in the cloud. You got to.
Oh no, you go through the Netflix store and then it takes you to Google Play where you install it from there.
Yeah. Right, okay, I'm with you. I'd forgotten all this. I'll have a look at Netflix gaming again on the back of this.
Yeah. No, I'm quite excited about this. I'll give it a go. Because I did, whenever they arrived on the PlayStation Plus thing, I think it was only 6 months that they were available. I played Vice City because it's easily the best of the bunch, and Ray Liotta voices the main character, and Burt Reynolds is in there. It's a brilliant game for that. And I had a wee tear about with it, and I couldn't replicate any of the issues that people were complaining about. So I think most of the bugs were cleaned up by the time I had a go on it. And I think this will really get heads turnings, and people will probably use this, and they might become the best games that Netflix have to offer, or the most popular, not the best, sorry, the most popular games that Netflix have on their service at the moment. Yes. Next up is the Xbox app for PC is going to get a compact mode for handheld gaming PCs. Obviously, handheld gaming PCs are all the rage at the moment, with the new Steam Deck OLED arriving and the likes of Lenovo and Asus selling pretty good amounts of their handheld gaming unit hardware. It's becoming a viable platform. So Microsoft are putting the effort in to make a better version of the Windows interface to be played back on these devices. Ted, what do you know about this?
Nothing.
Oh, good.
Except exactly what you just said, really. I'm not sure. We've previously kind of poo-pooed things like the ROG Ally and said it's a bit crap compared to Steam Deck and the proper ones. A lot of these handheld consoles that run Windows coming out, we've kind of been very dubious about the quality of them. Do you think that part of the dubiousness has been about the fact that it's trying to run full Windows and not a compact version, which this might fix?
Well, kind of. It's important at this point to isolate the Steam Deck because it'll arrive out of the box running SteamOS, which is a Linux-based one. Yeah. But you can shoehorn Windows onto it. Mm-hmm. So that you can run other launchers like Epic or GOG and the Steam one. So whenever you buy Lenovo and Asus's ones, it comes with Windows installed on it. So Windows has never been particularly good at making light versions of their operating systems. Mm-hmm. And we've seen that time and time again where they've tried to take on Chromebooks by putting out, Windows 10 Starter Edition or something like that, or Windows XP. There was one of XP or Vista or 7 or something like that they did that were really cut down limited versions designed to go on cheaper, flimsier hardware. And that would really suit had they continued to push that and develop it over the years. With this coming along now, to be installable on various bits of limited hardware, because the ROG Ally and the Asus thingy, whatever it's called, I can't remember off the top of my head.
The ROG is Asus, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it is. Yeah, the Lenovo.
That's right,
thingy.
The Lenovo one. The Lenovo Go, isn't it? No.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember it, and people know what we're talking about anyway. Yeah. They are in nowhere near as powerful as some of the desktops that we get these days. So they do benefit from a much lighter anything on them. And if they were to do a better version of Windows that is gaming focused and doesn't have all of the crap that comes along with Windows, then people will obviously have a much better experience. And it also goes for laptops as well. They could really harness this and be able to put out a lightweight version of Windows that focuses on what they actually want and have Windows Lite and Windows Desktop, for the big home. And that's the key to them succeeding against all of the little bits nipping at their heels with Chrome and Linux and things like that, just getting at them and stealing victim after victim away from them. And the Steam Deck is such a big, it's been such a big success that they've lost a load of Windows users across to Linux because SteamOS is on there and it runs an awful lot better than Steam runs through Windows on the Steam Deck. Well, not an awful lot better, but a good bit better. It's more recommended that you do that, but people do this so that they can get on the other gaming stores like GOG and Epic. So it'll be interesting to see going forward if Microsoft pursue this and fully support it and don't just sort of throw something out in the hope that they manage to ensnare people with another ropey version of Windows cut down to try to be better.
I remember Windows 10S, which came with the what's it called? The Surface Go, which is completely
only had them. the marketplace or something?
It was just completely unusable. Everyone that bought one just put the Windows 10 on it instead, the proper version, and accepted that it used more resources. But it was just unusable. So hopefully,
and I think you couldn't install third-party apps on it outside of the marketplace.
Yeah, that's right. It was locked down in so many ways because but then when you put Windows 10 on it proper, it was all right. It worked fine. It wasn't the most powerful PC in the world, but it's just like, why would Microsoft bother doing that? It just seemed a bit daft. They were trying to turn it into a trendy tablet and failing, like you say.
Yeah. But they need to be having it running in the background with as minimum of the footprint as possible so that all of the power goes toward playing the game rather than having Windows features running in the background like the crap that you get down in that. What's the Good Afternoon bar insights and widgets and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
We don't need that on something like this. Mm-hmm. It needs to be lean, ready to go, sports star style. All right. Well, moving on to the next one, which is The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. That's arriving soon. Oh, Ted, this is the second time that this has come up in 2 weeks, hasn't it?
Is it?
We talked about The Last of Us on the Projector Room
recently.
recently.
We've been missing for a month. Oh, see.
Very true.
On Projector Room. We talked about the forthcoming Last of Us on... Did we?
Oh, no, we haven't talked about that yet. That's right. Oh, shit.
I think we're talking about it this week, aren't we? We were supposed to be.
Well, there's a possibility that it might pop up.
Right, go back to the square one. Start this item again.
All right, okay. No one knows what we're talking about. So this is about The Last of Us Part 2. It's getting a remastered version that has a trailer out now that allows you more playable characters and things like that. So they're taking the game and doing what they did with The Last of Us Part 1 for the PlayStation 5 by remastering the game. How exciting is that? Ted, have you ever played or heard of The Last of Us?
No, as you know, we did speak about The Last of Us on Projector Room, the film.
But don't tell anyone.
The TV show. But we spoke about that on Projector Room halfway through the year when we first watched it. And we raved about it because it's so good. But I still haven't gone and played the game to see how close or removed from it is. It just doesn't seem to be my kind of game, really. I love the TV show. It was great, but not a game. Are you looking forward to the... I mean, presumably you know the first one inside out, do you?
No, I've never played it.
Oh, haven't
you? No. It's actually eluded me in that I didn't get it on the PlayStation 3 where it was first released, the first version of the game. No, I did. I bought it and my stepdaughter took it up to her bedroom and I didn't see it again. And then by the time I got the disc, the PlayStation 4 had arrived and there was a new version of it for the PlayStation 4. I was like, why would I play that whenever I can buy get the new one? But it's too expensive. Right. And then I have to go and hook up the PS3 or play it up in her bed. No. And then the remastered version came out of The Last of Us, by which time the PS4 had moved up into Austin's bedroom, my son's bedroom, and the game, I suppose I could download it to the PlayStation 5, but it's the old version. I'd rather play the remastered version. And then the PS5 version, the remastered one, came out on Steam, and you can get it there, and I still haven't played it there. Oh, it's just missed me each time, because there's a newer, better version of it somewhere else.
Okay. When it arrives on my Nintendo Lite, I'll play it.
I don't think it will. So, yes, this will come to PS5, and then in about a year and a half's time, it'll arrive on Steam, probably. Right. And then you'll be able to play it on your Asus ROG Ally.
Or just watch footage of it on YouTube with other people playing it.
Well, that's what Alan Gilday does, isn't it? He knows those games really well. He's never played them in his life, but he's sat and watched through them as a cinematic experience, which is a testament to the games that you can do that.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. You could do that too.
Yeah. I think I did, actually. I think I had a look at a couple of videos of someone playing it, and I thought, I love watching the TV show. I thought it was great, but sitting and trying to engage with it and play it, I don't know. It just didn't. I'd much rather play Mario.
Well, there's movies of that as well.
Yeah, there is.
All right. Well, we'll move into possibly the biggest news of the week when it comes to gaming, and that concerns a little game called The Day Before. And I don't particularly want to have to go into the whole history of this game because there's no shortage of people who have. But I'll give a quick layman's guide to it so you can bluff your way through it if people are talking about it at the water cooler this week. The Day Before was announced earlier, or a couple of years ago, actually, a good few years ago. And the original video looked like possibly the most exciting game we've ever seen. About a massively multiplayer online universe where there's a zombie infestation and you get to run around in cities and the countryside and shopping malls and all that kind of stuff. Drive cars, shoot zombies, loot, build bases, and generally have a right old time. Then there's a whole lot of controversy that happened after that trailer arrived, with it being accused of being fake, and the development team only being a handful of people in Siberia, I think it was. It's either Siberia or Korea. I can't remember which. I know they're not, similar in any way, but I heard one person say Korea and then another person say Siberia, and I'm trying to work out which I actually heard. They do sound kind of alike, I suppose. Siberia, Korea. You could cough and say them both the same way and people might not know. Or South Korea is Korea, Siberia. No, never mind. I've spent more time on that than anything else. The Day Before, getting back to that, over there was a whole copyright thing and various different trailers, and people just didn't believe it and thought it was vaporware, and it was being used as a platform to advertise the software company's other games that and apps and things like that they had out. And it was moving from essentially making something like Candy Crush to jumping to The Last of Us. It was that kind of surreal world where a software company known for doing some sort of mobile game that wasn't particularly well received to a big AAA plus beating game. And it very quickly became the most wish-listed game on Steam. And they kept delaying and delaying and delaying. But it's finally arrived. And to say that it's a clusterfuck might be a little bit light on description. So it arrived on Thursday. People got to download it, and obviously there were some niggles with servers. There always are with new exciting games for people who get really excited about it, and people are trying to get in, and the servers can't cope, and people get kicked out. But I think everything that can go wrong with a game, whenever it comes to bugs, happened to this game, where people would instantly start and fall through the floor and fall into an infinite void, not actually be able to play the game. And because of the way the character is set up, you actually have to delete that character and start all over again, create a new character, which eats up server bandwidth and all that. But what has now transpired after a few days is just how badly put together and implemented the actual game is. It has gone from being a massively multiplayer, online, rich environment full of all these fun things you can do into a basic extraction shooter where you have a small area where you go in, do a couple of missions, and then go back to a hub. So someone will give you a crappy mission like go and find a walkie-talkie. You have to go out into this fairly large world, not huge, but fairly large, with a decent amount of detail to it. I'll give the developers that. They've spent their time on the map. And go pick up a walkie-talkie. You might encounter a zombie while you're doing this. The chances of you encountering another person in this massively multiplayer online world is very, very limited. And you can hear things going on way over there, but it doesn't seem, given the amount of people that are actually playing the game, you don't see anyone. The odd time you'll see someone, or you'll just die inexplicably because someone shot you, because you don't have that opportunity to see who killed you or see the person before they kill you. It just all happens. So you go out, get the thing, and then come back to the hub and talk to people. There isn't actually much of a game here, and it's very disappointing for everyone involved. And the fact that it turned into a topic for the tech addicts just goes to show how earth-shaking this actually is. And it's not in the way that, say, Cyberpunk and No Man's Sky were before, where you have dedicated big studios that are able to go and do this and then actually repair it over the next couple of years. This has come out so poorly and so badly that the little team has no hope of being able to repair this, because I think there's a huge percentage of people who have just gone, nope, refund, please, this is awful. And as soon as they made millions of dollars, 2 hours later, they'd lost millions of dollars and have to give everyone refunds on this. There's so much that's in the trailers that just isn't in this. And you can go on to YouTube and have a look and see, a trailer analysis showing, object physics, good graphics, all those sorts of things. Things that they'd said that they'd used to delay the next release of it have been, omitted from this release, so there was no need for that delay. Like they delayed for a large amount of time because they were upgrading from the Unreal 4 to the Unreal 5 engine, and the graphics look worse than they did with the video footage that went out featuring the Unreal 4 engine. It really is. It's just that bad, and it's almost like a wee bit of, it's a comedy of errors, if anything. To go and watch the history of this game from the initial jaw-dropping trailer to what the people actually got who went and pre-ordered and bought the game have. And I dare say that everyone who has not refunded their game within the 2-hour window that Steam allow you have likely lost their money, because I can't imagine this being fixed very soon, if at all. I'm having a look at the patch notes for the most recent patch, and they have fixed a few things with resolutions and sound improvements and stuff like that, but it doesn't seem that they've gone in and done very much. They've probably just had a few bits and pieces that they've been able to do. But I dare say that little development team is going to be hanging their heads in shame quite a bit around the office on Monday. And have you heard anything about this?
No, not until today. No, I didn't. I'm looking at the Steam website now, though. They're running a video of some footage from the gameplay. And I'll tell you, the thing that stands out to me is that all the graphics look really well done, in my uninformed position, except when it comes to humans. And I think this is where I often find with gaming is that all the landscapes are beautifully done, and all the cityscapes and the trees and everything, and the zombies and the aliens and the cars and everything, but they just can't seem to get the humans right, which is why I think to myself, it suddenly looks a bit stupid because they haven't got it right with the physicality of humans, which is why probably my brain says, don't bother with this, just go back to Mario, because at least with Mario they don't try and make it look human. it's just a cartoon. But yeah, the richness of the scenes is really impressive, and then they go and spoil it.
Well, yes, it's one of those things that there's a thing called an asset drop, which you do get down at the very bottom of Steam sales and games on Steam quite frequently, where people will go and grab a load of assets and throw them together in the hope of that making a game and then try and sell it. And that might be what this actually is, where they've got a good-looking collection of assets, thrown them all into one game and released it. It's a phenomenon that happens quite frequently.
So everyone's unhappy and they've made no money. And £33.50 it says here. So everyone's coughed up their money and they're going to get it back. And as you say, the developers will be in big trouble.
Well, yeah. From the Steam page, you can see over on the right, it says all reviews overwhelmingly positive after 17,055 reviews.
Negative.
Or sorry, negative. Yeah, that's important. Yeah, which 2 days after release isn't terribly good. No. And it would be nice to see the amount of people who actually got it reviewed. Or got their refunds. That's what.
Okay.
Sorry, no, my wife was saying something to me there. If 95% of the games were refunded, so there is a bit of a breakdown actually. Negative reviews are 14,303. Positive reviews are 3,591.
There's one,
which is interesting.
There's one positive review that down the bottom that says, I get it now. This game was made the day before launch.
And he gave it a thumbs up.
Yeah. So if all the thumbs up are negative really, then that is a bit of a offset kind of statistic.
You got to wonder as well, someone's leaving a review having played the game for 0.6 hours. 0.6 hours. That's 0.5 hours would be 30 minutes.
Yeah.
0.6 hours would be 35 minutes.
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, something like that. And they're able to give it a good result and say this is recommended. Yes. There's someone who's played it for 20 hours and 9 minutes, which is pretty good in 2 days. Actually, that's.
It's not giving it much of a chance, is it?
Oh, he after reviewing the game for 0.2 hours, he gave it recommended, or the person gave it a recommended review.
So there's a group of people that are getting this in because they've got pots of money and they think, oh yeah, that's the latest thing, I'll get that. Switch it on, load it, and have a look at it quickly. Don't play it properly and say, oh yeah, that's great, I'll leave it a positive review.
Well, there is the other side of it as well, where you could think that what they've achieved in the 2 or 3 years that they've been developing this for a small team is actually pretty good.
Okay.
You could argue the fact that you kind of feel sorry for them, they're bitten off more than they can chew. It's not exactly their fault they put out an absolute blinder of a trailer. And I say one of the biggest selling points of that trailer has to be the female character. When you see her running around, it's quite visually eye-popping what she's wearing, and that always makes its way onto people's or onto a gamer's wish list whenever something is a little bit more attractive than what you would normally expect. So I think that
porn.
Well, not even that far, but a very attractive-looking woman will sell better than the John Goodman-looking guy who's standing behind the counter giving out bits of gun hardware and stuff like that. So they pushed that, they got unlucky, and the game suddenly became the most wish-listed game on Steam. They could be a victim of their own ingenuity there, and they weren't able to deliver it in the end. And as a result, it's a sad story of how they failed. Yeah. Unfair, I suppose, but they should have just cut it out while they were ahead.
Very sad indeed.
Terribly.
Particularly for the shareholders.
I don't think there are any shareholders. I think it's just
okay.
No, it's just a small team.
Oh, right.
Putting out and making it themselves. Right. We'll move on because I'm kind of losing the plot there a wee bit. Okay, so flap your trap about an app. We're going to start with Microsoft, which is launching a new app to keep up with the Chromebook threat. What is this new app there, Ted?
This is what we were speaking about earlier, but what we were referring to earlier really is that Windows are trying to launch this Windows in the cloud thing. And this article by Joe Humphrey at Chrome Unboxed is talking about the impact of that possibly on Chromebooks, and it'll make for an interesting little read because, what they're suggesting is that Windows are so threatened by what Google is doing with Chromebooks and the Chrome OS that they're trying to put their own thing out, Windows app, which can run on pretty much anything. So the Windows app can be installed, they hope, on iPhones and iPads and Macs and PC. Desktop browsers can run it, Chromebooks, whatever else. And Microsoft are just trying to, as the headline says, keep up with the threat of Chromebook being simple and straightforward in the cloud, everything working just neatly with small amounts of resources. So a bit much like we were referring to earlier, really.
Okay. Do you think there's an ultimate goal for this, to try and get people to accept that cloud is the way forward?
Yeah, definitely, and that they can do it with very limited resources. So whatever machine you've got, this is the goal, I'm sure. Whatever machine you've got, whatever operating system it's running, whatever you're doing, whatever with, we have got a version of Windows, like we were saying about the gaming version just now. We've got a version of Windows that will run on it. You can stick with Microsoft. We will sort you out. And you don't need to be using other people's software. Come to us and be served up our stuff with our adverts.
Great. And also, if it's cloud-based, then our server costs.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, we'll see going forward what transpires with that. If it starts out cheap and then suddenly starts to ramp up its prices as time goes by. Mm-hmm. As more people adopt it.
Or perhaps it'll be free.
No, I don't think it could be. No. They'd have to sink a computer brain down to the bottom of the sea. Yeah, data center. Okay, so Dolby Atmos is being challenged by both Samsung and Google, with the 3D spatial sound space up for grabs. What can we expect from Samsung and Google?
We don't know, because it's going to be released at CES in January.
So you haven't heard anything?
But it does sound like it's quite interesting. If Google and Samsung are working together to challenge what Dolby Atmos are doing, Dolby Atmos is baked into Samsung devices, at least into the flagship, the more expensive Samsung devices, as we know. And, like with Exynos chipsets and what have you, they're trying to go their own way, maybe. Google has never baked any Dolby Atmos into their Pixel lineup. But this sounds, if you read through the article, as though they're trying to do what Sony were claiming to do with 360 reality audio, and make sure that that their devices have got their own tool on it. And who's to say that it won't work? There's this thing called IAMF, which is the technology in which they're kind of trying to get involved in. It says that it will balance the sound.
Immersive audio model formats.
Well done. Very clever chap. And they're talking about
International Alliance for Mountain Film.
I thought you'd found it. I wasn't listening. Sorry.
International Anime Music Festival.
Yes.
No, I did. It's immersive audio model formats, but I looked it up.
Okay, which sounds very much like, as I say, what Sony are doing. And when you read the blurb on this, it sounds very Reality 360 about sound behind you and in front of you and below you and above you. Some of which we kind of thought, some of us thought did work with the Sony system. More of us thought actually it's a bit kind of like smoke and mirrors, really. The bottom line is it'll be interesting to see what Samsung and Google come up with. They're obviously joining forces to challenge Dolby Atmos, which at least one of them has been using for years now, and we'll see what comes about because of it.
Cool. I do remember Google being asked why they don't have Dolby Atmos baked into things, or why they're avoiding it, but I can't remember. It was a few years ago. I think we talked about it on the show.
Really? Doesn't ring a bell. And as you haven't got the answer, it wasn't worth saying, really, was it? Because now everyone's teetering on the edge of expectation.
Well, that's what we expect. At the time, we probably had an article in front of us stating the reasons, but neither of us had read it. So we just we glossed over it and said, well, you can find it there if you want to go and find
I
it.
can't remember any Pixel having Dolby on it. Was there?
It never did.
Did they have
that was what people were asking.
Did they have it on the Nexus devices? Let me think.
No,
Nexus.
it hasn't been out that long, has it?
Well, maybe not the Atmos version of it, but certainly the Dolby bit has. It was on the full version of Atmos was on the Razer phone, which puts it back in 2016, 17, something like that. Which would have been the same time as Nexus. I don't know, I can't remember.
Well, at least we got to the bottom of that.
Yes.
Moving on. Bing Image Creator. Oh, we had some fun with this.
You were playing with this, weren't you?
Yeah, because it's really quite fun and easy to use. You can type in just a few words and Bing will create it for
Bing!
you. Bing! It's just there. Obviously, Ted informed me that putting Norks, wobbly bits, and teats in there, it picks up on them and doesn't do it.
Right.
But various different things. I had a good play with it to try and do new logos and things for the podcast, which I might use in the new year, just after I've refined them a little more. But it really creates some pretty cool imagery from a few words. Yeah. I think AI... This is one of the better implementations of AI from as fewer words, and it's much more approachable and easy to use. There are other alternatives out there, but they can be a bit harder to nail down because you do have to use particular word usage in order to get better results. But this just is light, fluffy, and to the point. And I have to say, well done to Microsoft for making something so approachably easy to use.
And Bard doesn't even do images at all yet, does it? Well, the last time I tried it didn't. They're bringing on board this Gemini thing. The Gemini Ultra, the Pro, and the Nano, is it? The Nano is the on-device, on-phone version of Gemini. But I think that whole Gemini thing is going to do pretty much what Bing is doing here. I could be wrong. You discovered early on in the week, though, that there was a 15 image a day limit. But I looked yesterday and it said I could have 97. So I wonder if that's gone up to 100. That was my feeling during the week. How many is it telling you now you can have?
Oh, I haven't tried it today.
We'll try it now.
I'm logged out. Hold on a second. I have to log in and then decide on it. Enter code on the authenticator app.
Right, okay. Mine's now saying 93. So this is 2 days on, and it said 97 before. So maybe it's just giving you 100 credits to use. And then when you've used them up, I don't know what will happen, whether they give you a new 100 or you've got 100 for the whole time of the preview of the image creator. I don't know.
All right, okay. Christmas scene with explosions and ninjas. Oh, I can't spell. How do you spell explosions? It hasn't got 3 O's in it. It's PLOSIONS. Right. Creating. I have 15 boosts for today.
15 boosts.
Yeah.
Is that what they're called? They're called... Oh, yeah. Well, it says I've got... Have you got an Office 365 account?
No.
Well, that's probably what it is then. I've got 93 boosts for today, it says. And that's probably because I've got Microsoft 365. Yeah, that probably explains it, yeah.
Right, okay. Well, I'll put this image that it's just created in the image for the top of the podcast.
Okay. I should be interested to see.
It's quite cool.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know which one. It does give you 4.
I put one in the MeWe group this very morning. If you look at the PSC group in the MeWe, you'll see the second story down. No, sorry, the third story. No, the fourth story down, which is
oh, it's so busy in
which
there.
is a post saying that we're 5 years old because on the 10th of December we've been using MeWe for 5 years, and that image there I got from there. I just put in something like mobile phone celebration cake or something, and it's just amazing. I think it's just stunning.
For which one? For Tech Addicts?
No,
or?
PSC.
PSC.
So 1, 2, 3, fourth story.
Oh yes. Oh, it looks more like a calculator, to be honest, Ted.
Oh, perhaps it is.
No, it's got the button at the bottom of the port. It's not a USB Type-C port on there.
With the risk of nitpicking, though, it's just really, really clever. You're right, and I should look forward to seeing what you just created.
Yeah. It's worth. It's crap, but yeah, okay. All right, so we'll move on to Samsung because Samsung Internet shows up.
Oh, yeah.
On the Microsoft Store.
Let's see if it's still working. So I put, during this 24 hours when it was available to be downloaded, I jumped on it and downloaded it from the store, and it does appear to still be working on my desktop. Now, I thought that they would probably stop it working, but they haven't. So the story here is that Samsung seemed to release a not ready product into the Windows Microsoft Store, and if you were jumped in and that one day it was up there and downloaded it, you could use it, and it's supposed to talk to your phone if you've got a Samsung phone and blah blah blah, sign into your account. It's an alternative, and people have been saying for years now that Samsung Internet as an app should be available in Windows so that people don't use Chrome all the time. And as a Samsung current user, I was quite interested in this. But as I say, I was expecting that to go away again, but it hasn't. It's still there. So presumably anyone that jumped in and got it and downloaded it, yeah, it's all working still. People are complaining about it. They're saying that it's buggy and horrible, which is why they pulled it. But essentially it's still working. Did you jump in and get it?
I didn't know. It's a browser, isn't it?
Yeah. It's the same one that's on the phone and the tablet, so it's a Samsung Internet browser, and over the years it's been very much spoken about positively on phones. I've not used it much, but I was watching a YouTube video about it last night, and some people will swear by it. It's much better than Chrome and has all these other benefits and blah blah blah. So worth a look. But obviously, if you didn't get it, dear listener, it's too late now. I've got it.
What you were saying? Stick it up your flue?
Yeah, stick it up your flue.
All right, moving into the Google Gallows and Chrome Coroners section. What have Google been up to?
Okay, so Google Drive is now on Android tablets looking very much like the desktop one. So they're changing the apps as they go forward. So the menu system is on the left-hand side. There's an update to the Google News magazine support saying that they're ditching it. So if you want your magazines out, then you've got to get them out. They will refund you. They will refund you if you paid for stuff. I had some magazines in there, and I thought, what are they going to do with me then? Because I hadn't paid for them. They were free. But sure enough, a few days later, I got an email from them offering me a link to download them all as PDFs or whatever I wanted, which I did. And then it's been working fine. Did you have any?
I had a couple of subscriptions.
Subscriptions just stop. But if you've got stuff you've actually bought, they will refund you, it said.
Oh, I didn't get a notification about that, but I will investigate.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, for me, they offered me that, and I took it, and that's the end of it, I suppose. Google Messages for Web Ready's account-based pairing with an emoji. That's working here now. I was waiting for that to come up and work, and it is now working. So if you want to use Google Messages on your Windows computer, I don't know about Mac, you can then launch the software and it readies your account by using a a cartoony icon, as opposed to having to go through using the phone to scan a QR code. It's just a little change, but it actually makes it much easier to use, and I've used it a few times now, and that's working. The other thing that's arrived now is the default home page on the web for Google Drive. So if you look at Google Drive now, which we both are now, if you look at your home page on Google Drive, you'll see that it's got some new filters, and it's all been rearranged, and it's all very, Material U-ish almost. And you can click on folders or files and have things arranged differently. So they've kind of basically souped up the Google Drive page on the Chrome if you're using that. And lastly, which you can also do if you're using Chrome now, have a look and see this thing in action, is it tells you on your tabs by hovering your mouse over them which tab is using up which bunch of memory, of RAM resources. So if you float your mouse over each one, at the bottom of the resulting window it shows you memory usage, and tells you the megabytes or whatever it is that it's using, so you can see what's the hog and close it down. So there you go. Anything you want to pick up?
No, I'm trying to get a refund out of Google.
You weren't even listening, you bastard.
No, it was. I do think that the thing that you were talking about there was interesting. And those other bits that you were talking about were very interesting too. No, I'm not.
Have
making
you got
it
a
sound very
refund
convincing, am I? No, I wasn't really looking to see that at all. Yeah, the Chrome tab thing, I think could potentially be quite interesting. I wish I could test it right now, because I really do notice that it's not fair that it's actually Chrome slows everything down. They can't just blame the website. If Chrome wasn't doing as much as it was doing in the background, your internet and your computer would probably run a bit better.
Yeah.
If you have a look at the process manager or task manager in Windows, you're like, hang on a second. Chrome has 59 instances for one window that's open, and it's eating up 90% of my computer
Which
resources.
is why Samsung Internet instead on your desktop will be a good idea.
Indeed, yes. Do you need another browser? Move into another browser?
Yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? I'm very much baked into Chrome. You're right, but yeah.
It's hard to move away. Yeah. It is, and they know that.
Yes.
So they can just keep shoveling you this shit.
Yeah,
anyway.
they can do what they like.
Yeah. All right, Bargain Basement, where things are cheap just before Christmas, and we've got quite a few of them as well.
Yeah.
One giveaway too that I have to sing the play trumpets and blow trumpets. No, wait, hang on. What's that phrase?
Blow
the trumpets off. Something like that. Yeah. Be happy about. Right, we'll start off with you, Ted. What's new?
Nokia X30. Two variations: the 256GB version with 8 gigs of RAM, or the 128 with 6 gigs. 299 quid and 249, down from 439 and 399. And you get some free buds with some of them, but not all of them, depending on the storage capacity and what have you. But yeah, the X30 was a good device, and it's still got 2 years of updates left on it. And really good price now, having been reduced drastically.
Yeah, that's 249 before trade-in for the white one, and then it's 249. I read that as 299 for some reason. Oh, because the 8GB version is 299. And the 6GB is 249. Yes,
exactly. And some of them are available on the that thing they do. What's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. Come on.
HP type thing.
No.
Pay it off. Over...
Yeah. Well, essentially that's what it is. but it's what's it called? Come on.
The HP.
The Nokia scheme that lets you pay £10 a month, and you never really own it, but it's like a lease scheme. I can't remember. Somebody's shouting at their phone now. Of course it's called that. You should know that.
I don't know what it's called. It's £10 a month.
Well, some phones are £10 a month. So if you buy a phone from Nokia, and you want to be able to return it in a certain length of time, but pay a small amount per month to use it, then you can buy it with this particular scheme that some devices have got going on. I'm really killing time trying to find it here, and
it is essentially a lease, so you own nothing. You just rent the phone.
Yeah, you do. But at the end of it, when you finish paying what you're paying, then you can what's it called?
You can keep it.
You can either keep it, yeah, or you can send it back into them, and they let you trade it for a new one for then a continued monthly payment. It's a bit like the Samsung scheme, I guess.
Oh, right, okay. So it's not leasing then. It is actually just.
Yeah.
I'd love to know what that's called. That sounds like a pretty good scheme.
Where is it?
Does anyone know what that's called? If they do write in, so that because we don't know these things here, and we don't have any resident Nokia experts that can tell us what these are.
Environment and sustainable, self-repair, refurbished. So right, well, I'm going to look for it before we finish recording. I'm going to find the blooming thing. Carry on.
All right. Oh, there's two. I was trying to add it to the bag to see if I could beat you to it, but no, I can't. I'll just let you work it out. That sounds better. Okay, the next one is
circular.
the final. Good grief.
Circular. It's called Circular, our subscription service that lets you access our top devices, blah, 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 environmentally friendly, blah, 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 reuse, recycle. Yeah, the whole idea is how they're selling it is that you send it back to them eventually, and then they recycle it, and you've been able to pay a smaller amount over the period of time. Right, okay, moving on.
Fair. Okay. All right. Well, coming up to Christmas, that might be a bit of a saver for some people. You never know.
Yeah.
For a kid as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah. We can pay it off slowly. Mm-hmm. All right. The final UX3000 is a set of Bluetooth wireless headphones that have received a bit of a pay increase, a bit of a price drop from £120 down to £105. Now, these are decent quality hi-fi sound quality with hybrid noise cancellation, 35 hours of music playback, ActiveX low latency, and multi-point connection. I have a couple of pairs of finals in my headphone collection, and I'm really quite taken by these. I do fancy these. I think these look to be pretty top quality headphones, especially just ahead of the Christmas rush. If you're looking for a wee something for that person who wants a pair of, decent headphones, but not breaking the bank kind of headphones, these could work very well. They look very comfortable, and they've got a bunch of nice features. Especially the plastic that they're made from is like a nice sort of textured plastic that feels quality in the hand. I really quite fancy these, and I'd love for them to send me a set, but they haven't. So I might have to buy myself a set in order to do that, to play with them. Ted, what do you think of these? Have you seen these before?
I've never heard of.
Oh, no. We talked about them about a month ago.
Well, I've obviously forgotten, or it's gone straight out of my head then. They do look nice, you're right. I love the black colour and not the silver colour. So obviously your principles on silver don't go to headphones. Headphones in black are okay. Anyway, yeah, they do look nice, you're right. And you need to get some so that you can see if they live up to the hype of all the things that you just said.
They don't do silver ones.
No, I realise that, but just generally.
Oh, right, okay. I was looking for silver ones because I thought, they sound nice. It's only black, right?
Yes.
But £105, I think is grand. Yeah, There's a payment of £17.50 a month on that if you fancy it.
Pretty nice indeed.
Cool.
We were talking about the Asus ROG Ally earlier on, and apparently now the AMD Ryzen Z1 Extreme model has been reduced from $699 to $549, and they're offering me 12 months to pay. Oh no, this is Curry. Sorry, they're offering anyone 12 months to pay, but it's not. You've got to go through finance to do that. $549. Is that a good deal?
I I would say so, yeah. It's not actually letting me open the website.
Oh.
I get an error 1005, but it could be because I'm behind
Ooh,
my...
hang on a minute. You've got to buy them by the 14th of November. When's that? What?
4 days from now.
No, that's December.
What?
It says here.
Oh,
no, sorry. It was between those dates 699, and it's now 549. Right? Okay, forget everything I said. But I got a feeling that previously you kind of looked at the Ally and said,
Well, because it's Windows-based, and I very much prefer the Steam Deck's Steam OS, but I understand that people need Windows for the other game stores, which is something I never count into it, although I do have games in the other game
Wasn't
stores.
there something about the layout of the buttons or something you didn't like as well, though? No?
Well, I think it's missing the wee touchpads that the Steam Deck has that makes mouse-driven games so much easier. Real-time strategy games and stuff will be harder to play with a thumbstick than with the touchpads. Okay, next up, I was actually thinking of you, Ted, whenever I put this in, because this looks like a cool wee stocking filler as well.
Yeah.
That's been dropped in price from £125 down to £89, and it comes in a bunch of really nice little colours. This is the Instax Square SQ6 Instant Camera. It's like a Polaroid camera, essentially, that you can take little pictures of and get a wee square piece of paper come out of the top with that picture on it, like a Polaroid. It's got 5 shooting modes, including a selfie mode. It's got an inbuilt flash with automatic exposure control. The pictures are 6.2 centimeters by 6.2 centimeters, which I believe, using calculated mathematics, is a square. Yeah. It includes 2 lithium batteries, CR2 lithium batteries, though they're camera batteries, aren't they? A shoulder strap, so you can throw it around your shoulder whenever you're touring around the Colosseum with your busman's holiday group. 3 strobe colour flash filters as well. I just thought this was a pretty funky little kid's toy, essentially, that a teenager might quite enjoy and take down to the pub and remember those little moments that were also popular with Polaroids over the years.
Very nice.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, it looks very nice. I do like that, and if I had the need for one, that would be the one to get. I got a feeling that the film is it also takes Fuji film, doesn't it? Or is it Kodak? Instax, I think, is in bed with one of them, isn't it? No, I think it's Fuji, yeah. It's Fuji Instax film that you can use. Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, very, very nice. These little instant cameras are definitely making an appearance again, aren't they?
Yeah. I'm just looking. There's limited amounts of them available. 500 being bought in the last month, and there's 15% of this deal has been claimed at this point in time. So by the time I get the podcast published, if you're interested, and you've listened through to yet another epic podcast, it'll probably be sold out or whatever, but you never know.
Incidentally, it's only the blush gold one that's that price. All the other ones are normal price by the looks of it, all the other colours.
Well, I got a feeling looking through them that each of the other colours was actually a slightly different model.
Oh, right.
The camera itself looks a wee bit different. The whitish one looks different, but the black one looks...
Yeah, that's an SQ40.
Strange.
That's an SQ40.
Yeah, and then the one at the end is the SQ1.
And the Instax blue one, yeah. So those last 3 are different phones, aren't they? Cameras. Instax,
yeah. There's 3 different models to choose from. So is the SQ1 on sale? It's £94 down from £120.
Oh, right.
And then the SQ40 is down from £140 to £119. So they're all on sale, I suppose. But that wee SQ6 just looked really quite choice. I loved that, the brush look at the front, the blush gold, I think they call it. Looks like a pretty funky little camera to have in your handbag.
Pretty nice indeed.
man bag, maybe.
Right,
All right, what's
the U-Green docking station is next. The 13-in-1, which we might have done before. It's been reduced from 130 quid to 100 quid, 99.99, and it's got 13 different functions on it, as you might have gathered. And
13?
It does look like it's very, very good indeed. Pass-through 100-watt charging, power delivery, so you've got all that going on. USB-C on the end. It's also got Ethernet connection for you, Gareth, and USB-A's and card slots and just everything, really. It looks like a really decent bit of kit, and if I had a need for one, I'd be zooming in for that.
Zooming in. Yeah, no, it looks quite nice. I do like the U-Green brand, and I think this is just another perfect example. In fact, I have a wee... No, it's a wee bit different, actually. It's a smaller one. 130.99 is pretty good for that, actually. Yeah, it's got tons of connections.
Indeed.
Very nice, very nice. They can heat up nicely, too, so you can set it on your lap and keep yourself warm during the winter. Yeah. Next up is a bit of a steal, I think. We discussed this before the show, and Ted has his concerns, of course. This is the U-Perfect 13.3-inch portable monitor. It's been reduced in two ways. First of all, the price has been reduced from £109.99 down to £93.49. Plus, there is a voucher you can apply as well that takes £30 off. And with another complex piece of mathematics, I've worked out that the total price will be £63.49 once you have deducted that voucher. This is a 1080p Full HD ultra thin external monitor with IPS screen. It's got an HDMI Type-C on the side, iCare built in, and it's OTG, or on the go, which is pretty good. It's got a 60 Hz refresh rate, and as Ted pointed out to me before the show, it does not contain a battery. I think the larger version of it, the 15.6 inch or something like that, has a battery in it. But the reviews are actually pretty good, and they don't seem to say that it's quite... I think there's someone knocking at a door downstairs. It's not washed out or anything like that. It actually looks like there's some good crisp colour to it. What do you think of this?
Yeah, I've got no complaints at all at £63.49. No complaints at all. No concerns. Nothing. £63.49, and you can't possibly argue with a bit of kit at that price. So all those things I said about it not having a battery, and when you turn it on, the brightness is at minimum every time, which is really annoying. Go out the window, because it's £63.49. Absolute bargain.
Yeah. I do. I think I fully agree. If I had need for one, I would have bought one this morning. But I honestly can't think of where I would use that.
I agree. I've got one sat in the garage. I was saying to you earlier, and it's just sitting gathering dust. As you said, I should try and flog it before it ruins completely. Right.
Well, we'll see that in the PS3 classifieds coming to slightly
I've shot
down
myself
the
in the foot there.
Don't listen to the Tech Addict podcast.
The Echo Show 5. I don't know if you've ever tried one of these Echo Show devices, but I thought that it might be actually quite nice by the bedside, even though I don't use Amazon Alexa services and use Google for everything. This has been reduced to £44.99, and it's the third generation 2023 release, so it's not a last year thingy. And they're offering me to buy it at £9 times 5 months. I just sat by the bed, even if it's not used much, as a clock, as a whatever, a bit like that Lenovo clock thingy that was a smart clock. I thought that might be quite a good little bargain. Have you ever had an Echo Show device of any size?
No, but I've seriously considered it quite recently because Google's such a bloody travesty at the moment. You just can't get anything to work on it. It constantly picks you up on the wrong speaker or can't deal with your question that you just asked it because of some stupid reason.
Right.
I'd much rather give Alexa a try at the moment.
Okay, well, that's 50% off, so it was 90 quid, it's now 45. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's a little dinky 5-inch one. There is an 8-inch one as well, and a 10-inch one, I think. But this dinky one by the bed, I thought might be quite nice.
Yeah,
there you go.
Could be. And it's Amazon, so they allow you to buy them in instalment.
Yeah, the £9 they're offering me 5 months for £9.
That could work.
Mm-hmm.
Could work. But then you have to change all of them. You can't just have one of them. I don't know. Next up, okay, is a bit of a pipe dream. This is the LG Ultra Gear, the curved gaming monitor, the 49GR85DC. This is a 49-inch, 14.4p, 200 hertz, 1 millisecond GTG. It's a VA display, but it does HDR10, and it's AMD FreeSync compatible, and it's got smart energy saving, a DisplayPort, and HDMI. This is reduced in price from £1,249.99 down to £949p. It's pretty huge. It's a pretty awesome little screen that you could put in front of you and play games all day. 240 hertz should work very nicely with most modern games, and there's a huge amount of real estate for you to fill up with applications and everything you need.
You want a good swivelling chair, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah. I have a smaller version of this, and I do think it's your peripheral vision. That encompasses your peripheral vision perfectly, and you just turn your eyes and you see the edge of the screen. I don't think you'd need to turn your head or your neck at all.
2 HDMIs it's got.
It's got a DVI or a display port as well, which is what you want for your computer, because they are better like.
It does look really impressive. It's like a curved letterbox, isn't it? Blimey. Yeah. Wow.
How wonderful. All right, the last thing is a wee bit of a freebie, and I just happened to notice it this morning, and I'm kind of busting to get back to playing with it because I installed it and had to play with it and really got into it. This is I'm going to open it up so I can talk a wee bit more about it. This is the Nero Platinum Suite SE. It's actually free. I don't know if it's over Christmas or it's going to be free going in, but they're giving away their whole Platinum Suite for you to play with and enjoy for 12 months. And you can download it and install it, and it comes with a whole collection of little tools that probably aren't the best at what they do, but they'll be able to get you through things if you don't use them terribly often. There's an AI image upscaler, which I was having to play with this morning, and I really quite like, and I'm going to go in and get more familiar with it after we finish this bloody show. There's the AI photo tagger. There's the Back It Up suite as well, and Nero, which they are well known for, is their burning ROM, because you'll probably go, oh, Nero, that's right, I used to have Nero all those years ago on my old desktop PC, and I used to burn CDs and DVDs with it. Well, that's what included here. It's got cover designer, disk to device, so it's a disk ripper, duplicate manager, which means you can scan through all of your photographs and get rid of any duplicates, which is really cool. I've been looking for one of those. I know there's a couple of free sources, but I don't think they're terribly reliable, so I'll give Nero a go because it's free. Photo Snap for manipulating images, Face Beautifier, which, Ted, I know we don't need, but we do sometimes take pictures of other people, and they certainly need to be made beautiful. Nero Score, which is a benchmarking tool that'll let you know whether or not your computer is good or bad or in the middle there. Nero Tune It Up. I don't know that I'm going to run that, but it seems to be one of those sort of, registry defraggers, and will sort out your computer if it's running slowly and stuff. Maybe use that at arm's length or whatever. Screen recorder, motion tracker, Nero video player. It's got loads of stuff in there that you might actually get a bit of benefit out of. I think it's worth having on the system. I installed it and ran Hitman Pro, and there doesn't seem to be anything particularly, or there isn't anything that's reporting back. The only thing that I have noticed is whenever you're using the AI upscaler, it suggests to you that it's taking a wee while. You may be better off using their online version, which requires credits, and the more credits you buy, the faster it'll go, or the more you'll be able to do. But you don't have to use that, and you can just click it away, and you can carry on using your own CPU as opposed to their servers.
What, forever?
So, well, for at least the 12 months that this...
Oh, is it a 12-month thing? Okay, sorry.
The key's valid for.
Okay.
So maybe next year they might do it again.
I didn't hear you say that it was 12 months. Right, okay.
Yeah, but get as much out of it as you can in this year,
yeah.
and things might be different next year. We might be working in the cloud, and Windows will have changed. Yeah, so it's a freebie. Do have a go and have a play with
mad.
it. The AI upscaler is worth it alone.
You'd be mad not to.
I thought you were just going to leave it with you'd be mad. Okay. What happens if I put this AI image into the AI upscaler?
Yeah.
I might have a go with that later on, just to play. Yeah. All right, well, that brings us to an end of the show, and actually to the end of the year. I don't think we're going to be doing another one before the end of the year, so this is, now that we've finished, bit of a Christmas special. We'd be due to do one on Christmas Eve, but there's no bloody way I'm doing that. So we'll come back to you next year and find out how your Christmas was.
The 7th of January, the next show will be, if we don't do a Christmas Eve one, yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose that would justify this being a little bit longer than normal.
Yes.
And by the time you finish this, you'll be ready for it.
It's a record. It is a record. We're over 2.5 hours.
Terrific. Wow, why not go out the way we end up, or the way we wanted to, which was breaking records? I don't know. Well, have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year, and I hope you stick with us next year for another couple of podcasts over the course of the year. And other than that,
Merry Christmas, yes, to you and yours, and hope you have a good one. And yes, 2024 will of course bring world peace, and alcohol will be declared as being good for humans. And these are my predictions.
Encouraged on a daily basis.
Indeed, yes. Copious amounts of alcohol declared by those who know healthy to do.
Oh, yeah, and chocolate too.
Chocolate, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. PayPal.me/Ted Salmon is where you'll find me if you want to buy me a coffee or some alcohol or some chocolates. I'll take anything. Everything else I do is at tedsalmon.com, so you can track me down there. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes, and do remember to check in with the MeWe group and let us know how your Christmas is going. We do actually care. All right, take care now, and we'll speak to you on the other side. Not as in dead or anything, but on the other side of the year.
Ho, ho, ho.